We're going to have Mr. John Anderson with McLaughlin Whitewater is going to talk about the Whitewater Park design and the project that we have.
I'm John Anderson. I'm an architect. I've been doing this for about 30 years. I'm very pleased to be here. You can see the screen here. I'd like to maybe just give you a brief introduction to the project. We've had 2 days of meetings here. Yesterday was especially productive. We had 3 meetings. The first was a technical meeting in the morning with technical stakeholders, chiefly MCD. They told us about their levee system and what's expected. And frankly, we were not surprised. In fact, we were not surprised by anything they said. They said, you will not harm our levee, you will not raise our flood elevations, you will not scour, you will not do any harm, and you probably won't plant any trees, but I'm sorry for shade, but we're very pleased to have such an engaged technical stakeholder, and we look forward to working with MCD as a resource on this project as we move forward, because they have a wealth of information on the river. They know far more than we do, and we really appreciate their serious engagement and support. I think we had probably four members from MCD there yesterday. The second meeting, we had their general director, who met with the river enthusiasts. That was the second group in the afternoon. We had some very engaged individuals, and I think we can probably outreach to some more groups, particularly the kayakers, fishermen, rowers, motorboaters, other people who use the river. But from this group, we got some invaluable feedback. We learned about what they like, what they don't like, how this project might fit into the riverscape wave and what they call the art wave down in Dayton. And they're a surprisingly open group. I think of surfers as being kind of competitive, but they routinely see people from 3 and 4 states away coming to surf at the art wave at the right levels, and seem very open to sharing this site should we develop it for other users. In the evening, we had a general 1-hour meeting with the general public, and we answered some questions. We presented the project. We answered questions that they have more of a general nature, chiefly having to do how it would be run, how it would be operated, would be able to keep up with some of the technical issues like debris, and who would pay for it and how, which I think kind of gives us a vision after listening to this for a day, especially with the synergy with the I-75 corridor and how this thing is really going to be a hook to bring business and bring interest and vitality to this community. So we see really a unique opportunity to create a community access, not just for river enthusiasts, but they'll be part of the act. They'll be out there playing, and we really want to attract people who normally wouldn't be in the river to come down to the river. We call them the 90%. We call them the people who just want to come down and brown bag their lunch and enjoy the river. To get there, we have kind of a basic approach to how we want to approach this project. The first, of course, is safety. You would expect that from a pilot flying a plane. You want to get there on time, but you want to, you don't want them to take any unnecessary risks in order to get you there. The dam is an obvious hazard. Many of you know the hydraulic roller below the dam can trap a buoyant object like those tires floating in there. That could just as well be someone in a life jacket, fully outfitted for the river, but yet unable to escape. To do that, to solve that problem, we intend to create some steps below the dam, which will keep the water from turning back on itself and essentially keep moving downstream where we want it. So basically anybody who goes over will basically keep moving downstream and not get trapped. And speaking of moving downstream, we would very much like the debris that currently is trapped in the banks to keep moving downstream. This is kind of a mundane issue, and it really ties into the operation and maintenance of this thing. You can really build a nice park, but if it becomes a maintenance headache in the future, we consider that to be unsustainable and probably an unsuccessful project. As you know, the water shallows above the dam, gets caught on the grass, the rocks, and the boat ramp and other objects that may be sticking up, and other logs. So what we would like to do is create a chute around this project that keeps the water deep so it doesn't get shallow, and all this moving debris just keeps moving. So reduced debris capture equals less cleanup. And if we can, I think we can solve that problem. I think, we have some ideas, and we're anxious to try them out. We want to, solve the safety and maintenance issues. We want to attract, skilled users and unskilled users down to the river to enjoy it. This is a new use for the river. Whitewater boating isn't done here. River surfing is kind of evolving with adjustable waves and other high-performance features that could possibly be introduced as well as family activities, tubing, maybe having a tubing concession or a kayak concession where people can basically paddle this thing with very low skill levels. You go down here and enjoy the thing. And of course, I mentioned the people viewing on the bank as well. These guys really don't care how this place looks. A whitewater feature with a log stuck in it is a dangerous feature, but they'll work around that. They'll be out there 365 days a year, even if it's below freezing. They'll be out there kayaking and surfing and enjoying their things. For the rest of the people, the other 90%, we would like to be able to create essentially a beautiful riverside park that doesn't flood as often and basically be subject to fewer closure days like we saw in the past couple of days where the river was closed. Our watchwords are higher and drier. If we can dry this site up so that you can have turf grass or native plantings, something that's soft and attractive, like these images here, I think people will want to come down and enjoy the river on a nice afternoon like today, or bring a brown bag lunch and enjoy the place and watch people surf, because they will be out there like at this time of year. They will be out there at 10 o'clock at night, as long as there's a glimmer of daylight, maybe even lights. They'll be out there all the time. And we also recognize and acknowledge that there are existing uses of the river, like rowing, bank fishing, and boat fishing. I don't know that this is a huge, what I'm told is probably not a huge motorboating lake, because there are other impoundments, but chiefly to go out and catch fish. So these groups will be engaged, and I understand that Mike is just asked to be part of their Facebook groups, where there's a fishing club here in the area, and there's also a rowing club. So hopefully, we'll be bringing these people in and listening to their needs as well. So with that, we are really, ready to get to work. We're ready to roll up our sleeves. We want to work on these alternatives, and I really appreciate working with Mike and Joe. They've been very supportive and enthusiastic about. We've actually started drawing some of the alternatives, and they're very enthusiastic about them. So that concludes for me.